Hey everyone, ladies and gents, Casual Gaming Dad here, and I wanted to make a video outside of my feedback, which has already gone up. You will maybe have seen that for the Server Slam. I want to talk about the Druid, and I want to tell you, I want to make a. I don't know if I want to call it an argument, but I want to just make a case for why you should consider playing the Druid. Okay. I played the Druid in both betas. I got to level 20 both times. And I played the Druid back in 2019 when they announced the game at BlizzCon. I had a chance to play all three classes, and the Druid was and has been my most highly anticipated class. I was the most fascinated with it. The fantasy, the look, the feel, the playstyle. So here are my thoughts about that, you can see here in the background is just some of my gameplay from the Server Slam weekend. So you can see me playing the Druid and whatnot, and you can see some of the rubber banding as well that I had from time to time. But anyways, let's get into it. So first thing to think about the Druid, I feel, that stands out to me compared to other classes is versatility. The Druid has all different kinds of skills. You've got your shape-shifting skills, your were-were, your werewolf, both of which have very interesting, unique looks, and the style, the werewolf being more of a single-target, heavy shred class, or playstyle, I should say, compared to the Druid and the werebear, which has a bit more AoE with things like Pulverize, more damage reduction for yourself, as well as reducing damage of your enemies. So a bit more tanky, more fortify type skills. Of course, you can mix both, which is another part of the versatility, right? You can do a little bit of both, different types of skills there. And I think the fantasy, the look, and the feel of both shape-shifting it just feels great. It really does. If that's something that you are interested in, let me tell you, this is a big improvement over the Diablo 2 Druid. A big improvement. And I mean, everything about it's an upgrade. Significant for me. That was my experience, I love that it has access to storm skills, all of which feel and look good. Despite, all the memes and the jokes about the damage numbers and whatnot, it really didn't matter at the end of the day. During my leveling experience, it didn't matter at all that it was on paper weaker, because I had a lot of fun playing it and I was able to do all the content in a reasonable time. It took me a few hours to hit 20 with both the Druid, Necro, and Sorcerer. The Sorcerer maybe a little bit faster, I'd say, probably than the others, but not to me, not that much faster, and again, I'm a casual, right? So I think for someone a little more hardcore, like someone like Rax, like a vet, a top player, those differences is gonna be a larger gap. So this is really geared towards the casual gamer, people like me and like you most likely are watching this, and so I felt that didn't really matter, right? And again, the elemental skills were really, really enjoyable. I used those mostly this time around. Last time I did try out a lot more of the shape-shifting, especially because the legendary drop rates were a lot higher. So I found legendaries for said skills, and that's what ended up making me try those more. Although I did try everything in the last beta as well, but this time I knew what I wanted to focus on, since I knew I was probably not going to find legendaries, and sure enough, all the way up to level 20 I didn't find a single legendary on the Druid. So I ended up going with Landslide, as you can see in the video, and it performed very well for me, honestly. I'd say the Druid still suffers a little bit from resource starvation, right? Because the skills, your core skills, are very costly. My friend who was playing with me, which you may see here in a little bit, he was using tornadoes, and tornadoes cost even more than landslides. So he felt like, I was running out of resource a lot. So But there's a lot of ways for you to mitigate that, right? So, and I think other streamers have given their feedback on that. Some of your howls and other skills you can use to basically make it so that you can recover your resources other ways other than having to swing, right? And for me, I just feel like these are things that can be remedied quite easily, minor tweaks, without having to use up excessive amounts of dev time. So I'm not really that concerned about it. And again, my leveling experience was still really good overall. So the Druid has quite a bit of versatility in that respect. You can play a melee, which includes shapeshifting. You can be a bit of support with some of your howls and your shouts. You can increase, your attack speed. You can reduce enemy damage. You can make yourself really tanky if you have to with the werebear. I love the way the werebear looks, and I'm so glad that it looks and feels good because, that was one of my issues in Diablo 2 with the Druid was I really wanted the werebear to be better, and it just wasn't. It can be really tanky, and that's it. It's just not good. It doesn't. It looks kind of cool in Diablo 2 Resurrected, but it just doesn't cut it. Thankfully, in this game, that's not the case. It looks and feels a lot better. Now, let's talk a little bit about, some of the, again, so I talked a little bit about the options you have, right? And I talked about how it felt leveling up, right? Let's talk a little bit about some of the different varieties. So again, I didn't find any legendaries, but from what I got from past betas, as well as later towards the end, kind of utilizing a stronghold to end up dropping some legendaries, which I couldn't really use, but I got to see some powers, and what I saw was I think at this point I'm pretty content with the different options there seem to be. There was quite a few different legendary powers that really helped boost both shapeshifting and storm skills. I remember in the previous beta I found a ring that made my tornadoes home in on enemies, and that just made them so much better. Like, seriously, wow, it felt so much better, right? And then I found some for like storm skills. I found some for shapeshifting, right? I did get an aspect for Blood Howl at a certain point, which made it give you extra critical chance. So that can be really good for like your party members, right, as well, when you play with others. So I really feel like the Druid has a lot of potential, and that leads me into, and if you just saw there on the map, there's the little bit northern part that we couldn't go to here. At level 15, each of the classes unlock something unique for them. In the case of the sorceress, it's enchanting. The Necro has the Book of the Dead, which you get access to early on, but you also get access to more things, such as the Skeletal Mages, as well as the Golem later, which the Golem is a 25, so we didn't get to use that. So I didn't get to try that personally. But I did get to have the summons and whatnot. The Barbarian gets the Arsenal system. The Rogue has, her unique mechanics with her abilities. And the Druid has the Druidic Spirit offerings. You have boons that you get from various spirits, and it looks like you can get up to 3 from what we could tell, from what we could see. Although we couldn't really see what those boons did specifically. And we couldn't unlock them. So I feel like that probably plays a pretty big role in some of the power for the Druid. And I think that may be part of the reason why Blizzard is a little bit hesitant to buff the Druid. Noticeably, right? There was some buffs, right? The companion skills got buffed. Maybe I should talk about those, actually. I did try all 3 companions. I really liked the wolves. What felt good about the wolves was their damage was a bit better, especially when you clicked the button, when you used the active, and you had them. What happened was they would leap and target a specific target that you clicked when you used the active skill with them, and the damage was very considerable. It kind of felt like, if you've played World of Warcraft, it felt like Kill Command from the Beastmaster, which that's sort of reminded me of, and my friend mentioned that too because he thought that was really funny. But that felt really good. So it felt like a skill that every time it was off cooldown and I was fighting something, especially like an elite, I would just hit it, and they would do quite a bit of extra damage, like a nice little burst damage. The other ones were the Ravens and the Creepers. So the Raven I tried, and what I saw about the Raven was when I upgraded it, it would cover an area of effect, the area was a bit small for my taste. The damage was good, but the area was a bit small. So I tried it for about a level or two, and I ended up not using it anymore. I didn't feel like it was that useful. But the Creeper, on the other hand, the Creeper was really good. And I think that there's a lot of potential for poison damage stacking on the Druid as well, with things like Rabies, with the Werewolf. There's some passives that can boost poison damage as well for both you, critical damage when you're using poison damage. The Creeper was good, and especially when you upgraded it to immobilize enemies, the area of effect, comparatively, if I was to just, compare, it was probably about this big for the Raven, and for the Creeper, it was probably about this big. It covered a huge area, so not only would you immobilize everything in that area, they would take a considerable amount of poison damage over 2 seconds. So the Creeper was very, very useful. I would say it may be useful in most builds for the Druid. So I thought that was really good. So the Companions definitely got a thumbs up from me. The Ravens may need a little bit tweaking. I think there's some legendary powers that also boost the Ravens, maybe give you more of them. That might make it a little bit better, but I can't remember for certain. But overall, I thought that was a nice buff. But back to my previous point, again, about the Druidic offerings, right? The boons. So we don't know enough about them and what it does and how much power that gives the Druid. So even without that, I had honestly a lot of fun playing this character. It just felt so good. It didn't matter that it was the weakest. It didn't matter at all. You have to trust me on this. If you like the fantasy, it's not going to matter that much. Okay, I really think what really matters at the end of the day is that everyone play what they like. I'm not sitting here telling you you have to play the Druid. I'm not trying to persuade you to do that. I just really feel like people should give the Druid a chance, because I think that when you hear about it, you hear people complaining and all this memeing coming around, which, again, I think the meme's hilarious too. I really do. I think it's hilarious. But I had so much fun playing it, and it's going to be my first pick, my first class when I play, and I'm gonna have a lot of fun with it. So those are my overall thoughts on it, and I really think that if you gave it a look, but you were maybe a little discouraged by what you saw and what you heard people say about, I'd encourage you to give it a look anyways. I really would. Take a look. We're gonna have probably at least a month and a half or more, maybe closer to 2 months, before the ladder starts. So that's a great time for everyone to try characters out if you haven't tried them all out, and see how it feels as you level up higher and level up more. I really wish I could have had a few more skill points so I could have tried some other things out, but I just didn't, And, you'll have some time to try out the different classes and see what you think before a season starts. For me, it's, that's kind of already set in stone for the most part, but things could change as I level up more. I don't really know for certain, but I know I will be starting with the Druid, and I had a lot of fun with it. I had a lot of fun with every class I played, honestly. I really did. But the Druid stood out to me, and I think it's fun, and I think you should give it a try. So, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. If you tried the Druid out, what did you think about it? If you didn't, are you considering trying it out? Otherwise, I hope you have a great day. I wish you well, and I'll see you in hell real soon. Okay, bye-bye.